Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Redlands Jack here with another One Piece analysis video. Now today is going to be the part 2 that I've been talking about of post-time skip fish eye pirates. Last video we did Desmond, we did Barry, and we did Shem. And I'm not going to be talking too much about that video, or not too much about how the fish eyes got to this situation and about those 3 characters. If you want to watch that, then you can go ahead and you can watch the old video, the first video. You can catch it right here, right at the top right of your screen. You can click there and watch the video. It's a good video. Give it a watch. And if you've enjoyed that video and if you enjoy this video, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell for whenever you want your next Redlands Jack One Piece video. Now, as I said, we did Barry, Shem, and Desmond. So now we're going into the Grand Line One Piece characters. And first is Maurice Chandelier. So before we get to what happened in post-time skip, pre-time skip, he had 2 main attacks. He had his Whistle Sword, which was the White Sloth, and he has Electric Boogaloo. Boogeyman Electric Boogaloo. I think we're going to get less of Maurice sword action. I think right now the crew is just too overstacked with sword users, which is why I think Maurice, and in the last video I talked about Barry losing his sword a little bit, because Barry's got a sword, Maurice had a sword at the beginning, Desmond had a sword, Oswald is the sword master, Lawrence is better with swords than everybody, but maybe Oswald, arguably. I just think this crew has too many swords. I think they're going to start moving away from swords. Desmond already dropped his sword, his scale sword. Maurice, I think, is going to not lose, it's going to be with him, but I think he's going to use it less, and it might be wielded out in certain moments. I think Maurice is going to focus more on Boogeyman, and I think we're going to get a second Boogeyman mode. I think that we're going to get Boogeyman, we got Boogeyman Electric Boogaloo, and we saw him using Light in the new one. So I'm thinking maybe Boogeyman EMP, Boogeyman Disco, Boogeyman Flashlight, something along the lines of Light. I think we've also got Jazz, and we're getting Noir Maurice. So I could see Maurice maybe doing something with Light, White Light. So I think maybe flashy, Boogeyman flashy feet, or something along those lines. Something with white light and harnessing light in his abilities. Now we're going to be talking about character, abilities, and moving forward, what's going to change with the character. Now, Maurice, if you watched my One Piece Maurice, the Maurice problem video, which you can check here at the top right, Maurice has had a problem of not having a character arc and not having a change of character, but he is the character that is the most not the most different to Zack. He is the character that stands up to Zack the most, I could say. But he doesn't have an arc that changes much about him. I think that's going to be completely different post time skip. I think Maurice is going to get an arc, a very strong arc, and Maurice is going to, instead of changing his character, having character development, he's going to have character development, but it's going to be more about the future of Maurice as a character. It's going to be talking about Maurice, how he was pre-time skip, but like he understands what his purpose is more. I feel like Maurice right now is without a purpose. Like, his goal is to be the best musician, but what is that? So I think the first thing is that Maurice is going to come back with a more substantial goal. And I'm going to move on to the next one. You want to hear more about Maurice? Go ahead and check out that video. Next is Jester. Now, Jester, if you guys don't know, my favorite fish eyes, number 1 is Shem, number 2 is Jester, and number 3 is Lawrence. Those are my 3 favorite fish eyes so far. Now, Jester, we've gotten Jester's big arc, and Jester's abilities, I think the one thing, even though Jester is probably one of the best written characters on One Piece, Jester's flaw is that his abilities are so, like, they're not very concise. Like, I think first things first, Jester is going to, as far as a character, Jester's going to come back more magician-like, more trickster-y. less science and more trickster. I think that's the route they're gonna go with him. More actory and more like, I think he's gonna be a straight up magician type character. He's going to be a conniving little thorn in someone's side, but he's gonna be powerful. I think Jester's gonna come back and master the black mist monster ability that he has, and he's going to come back with more potions, more abilities, maybe coatings for weapons. Maybe he's gonna come back with enhancement drugs. Maybe he's gonna come back with elemental drugs. Have you ever played Skylanders and you've seen, there's a Skylander called Pop Fizz, and what happens is he switches around a bunch of concoctions and drinks them and makes a different either he goes monster form or it makes a chemical reaction. And we saw parts of that. Actually, we saw a lot of that in Xeno from the, oh my goodness, Scoo 84 Jester's. And I think Jester might take something from that, similar to how Barry took some of the Alkalest gems from Anastar, don't forget about those, and put them in his suit. And I could see, and that's how he makes his he calls it a soul, his laser blade, or lightsaber, as you will. Yeah. But Jester, I think, as far as a character, he's going to be more trickstery, more magician-like in his techniques, but a deadly magician. Like I could see Jester throwing cards that explode, or he could be like, he's gonna be the character that people, the crew, and we can rely on to be conniving and get information. Abilities, I think he's gonna get maybe new potions along with new techniques, new coatings, and as a character, he is going to, and moving forward, Jester's character, I think he's going to be a little more crazy. Jester has been crazy in the past, but it seems like BC doesn't really know exactly what they want with him. But I think they're going to pull the trigger on him. I think they've been teasing the Jester turn, or the Jester lunacy, and I think this is going to be the one where he's going to be the crazy one in the crew. He's going to be the one that psychs up the crew. He's going to be the one that goes forward, and really takes a mission by storm. I think we're gonna get some amazing MVP Jester moments coming up in the next arcs. I can see Jester being the MVP, being able to take down henchmen, being able to sneak into places, being able to disguise himself. Like, can we talk about that Jester? Can we talk about that Jester post-Mantine, pre-Ennius Lobby moment when he goes through the submarine and literally takes down everybody on the submarine and tricks everybody on that submarine until he gets to Chevron and Void takes him down, they blow up the ship. Like, I think people are honestly underrating Jester. Maybe I'll make a video about how underrated Jester is, but I do think that Jester will get all things I've said before. Trickster, in conclusion, Trickster, chemicals, master the black mist, Trickster abilities, cards, smoke. I'm gonna get a lot of smokes out of Jester. I could see like a smoke, like maybe instead of like the massive smoke monster, there's going to be a Jester smoke mode where Jester like becomes smoke for a little bit and is able to zip around like a wisp. That would be cool. That's gonna be my prediction. Next is Oswald. I believe that Oswald is the most, or I want to say honestly, he's not the most mysterious of the potential. Or he's the most mysterious with potential. It's not the most mysterious when it comes to what the ability will be. I think Oswald is going to, if you watched Kakashi Chronicles, there Sasuke leaves the village for power. And when he leaves the village, he gets a curse mark from Orochimaru. I think this is going to be a lot similar. I also think this is going to be very similar to Naruto from Kakashi Chronicles. We know the unfortunate fall of Kakashi Umade, and I honestly feel like Oswald, Oz Kadachi, is kind of the one last dying wish from that project. And I believe that Oz is going to number one, upgrade his sword abilities exstantially. I could see maybe Oswald getting armament. I could see him, maybe, probably not post time skip. I think the three that are going to get hockey post time skip are going to be Shem, Desmond, and Zach. Obviously, Zach's going to get hockey. I didn't talk about this in the last video, but I do think Desmond's going to get armament, and I do think Shem's going to get observation. That's my thing. I could see later down the line Barry getting hockey. I could see Barry getting observation hockey. Maybe. I don't know if Barry has the will for that, though. As far as we've talked about so far, I don't think Maurice is going to get any hockey. I don't see that. I could see Jester maybe getting observation. I could see observation Jester. If Maurice were to get one, I'd say it would be armament, but I don't think Maurice is going to get any. I think just because Maurice definitely doesn't need observation, because his ability Electric Boogaloo basically does what observation hockey would do, because it heightens his reflexes. Honestly, if he got observation, I think Maurice would be one of the strongest characters. I think Maurice would be borderline unhittable. But anyway, and I think Jester with observation. I think Oz could get either observation or armament, but I just think armament works better with his kit because of his abilities in his swordship. But the big thing, I think Kamazatz is going to work like a Jinchuriki, and I could see Oz trying to fight with that, trying to get him to take over. And I don't know, I have a feeling Kamazatz has some, you don't just put that race there, whatever this race is, and just don't do anything with it. I think I have a feeling his race, the Kamazatz race, whatever it is, the demon bat type bird, whatever race, has deeper meaning within the One Piece world, and potentially even the Void Sanctuary. Because there's a demon race locked up on, if you didn't watch my bingo book video, go ahead and check that out as well. It's the video right before this one. In the bingo book, it says that the island's called Purgatory Island Tartarus. Purgatory Island, literally the island of jail. And if you don't know Tartarus, here, let me pull up really quickly Tartarus, just so you know. I can read this properly. Tartarus is, and I'll read it right here. Tartarus, the infernal regions of ancient Greek mythology. The name was originally used for the deepest region of the world, the lower of the two parts of the underworld, where the gods locked up their enemies. Now we know that Merijoa is the land of the gods, and Tartarus is where they locked up their enemies. I think there's something deeper there. However, as far as combat goes, I think Oz is going to get a substantial power increase. We already know Oz is potentially, he's easily top 4, potentially top 3. Him and Shem, I think, can be argued who's stronger. But Oz is going to get more with that, and I think that's going to tie in with his Devil Fruit, and I think we could potentially see a different form of the Devil Fruit, like hybrid form. Like we've seen him do the feat for when he did the crane style. We saw him pop the wings out for like the one-winged angel. We've seen him go full bird. We haven't seen like something altogether, and I think maybe imagine Oswald, blade in hand, curse mark, hybrid owl Devil Fruit. That could be powerful. I could even see some sort of like demon mode, Oni mode. We know in Japanese mythology, Oni, devil, there's a bunch of stuff we can take from there. But I think anything like that we could see. In conclusion, as far as abilities, Oswald, owl hybrid mode, demon mode, Oni mode, curse mark, Jinchuriki, demon possession spirit mode. And as far as sword abilities go, there'll probably be new styles. Maybe I could even see, maybe I could throw an element in there, I don't know, demon fire potentially, or even I could even see, honestly, like a blood mode. There's some crazy things that could happen with Oswald. As far as character, I think he's gonna come back and just be, as I said before, the whole Japanese thing. I think he's gonna come back and be either full ninja or full samurai. I think it's either one of those. I could see him coming back with a ninja gi, a mask, or maybe an oni mask. I could see an oni mask on him, or he could come back full samurai armor. I think it can be either way. We know he's gonna come back with, we can only assume that from what we saw, he's gonna come back with more weapons other than a sword. So we could see axe play, we could see sword play, kunai play. There's so many possibilities with Oswald because it can all come from the Japanese mythology or the Japanese combat style, martial arts. We could even see Oswald getting his hands in there, you know what I mean? And hit some taijutsu, you know what it's called, some hand-to-hand combat. I think there's so much with Oswald, and I think he's going to come back, and he's going to be more determined than ever to be by Zack's side and make sure Zack gets to being Pirate King. Oswald's dream is to abolish the 7 swords and to get Zack there. And I think Oswald might be the most determined, or second after Desmond. I think Oswald will be able to laugh more. He's going to be more lax than he was when he first got there. Because I think Oswald went straight from Oswald, Isaki, Lawrence. But Oswald most of all because he was more tied to the crew. Oswald went from being captured by the government straight to being at the Fish Eyes crew for maybe a week before they got separated. And we saw how close Oswald was to Zack at Shabundi. We saw what Oswald proclaimed to Zack and wanted to do with Zack. You know, I think Oswald is going to be more connected to the crew. Potentially, he might have one of the best connections with the crew, like ties to the crew. I could see him pulling off some sacrifices for the crew, stepping up for the crew, being like a big brother to the Fisheye Pirates. I could see that. And going down the line, I think Oswald's character is going to be loose, but he's going to be almost like a soldier for the crew and like that big brother or uncle or father figure as far as the crew goes. Because Oswald is one of the, or potentially the eldest on the crew right now. I believe he's 21. I know the bingo book for the ages are coming out next month, or whenever the next one comes out. That's interesting, yeah. Next we have Isaki. Okay. Okay. So Isaki, let's talk about Isaki for a little bit. So Isaki is the son of John McDowell. Now there's many different areas we can take abilities from. Isaki, and I'm gonna say Isaki's gonna get something now, and he's gonna get something very soon in the future. And I'll get to that. Isaki is the son of John McDowell. Isaki was a soldier of the military, I believe. He was a soldier of the military. He has a devil fruit. He is half human, half fishman. And now he's a cowboy. There's so much potential in this character, and I love it. So first things first. The Tear Devil Fruit makes it so he can cut through anything. Now, can Isaki use that on water? Is the question. He can, correct? Because we saw him use the spider net against Desmond. Great fight, by the way. So, let's just go, before we get to abilities, Isaki is going to be more connected to the crew. Oswald wasn't super connected to the crew, but Isaki was very not connected to the crew. Isaki was not even like a faulty planning, just like his character, the way his character is, he's not connected to the crew. He's very weary. I could see as the entire crew being closer after this post-time skip, for sure, but I think Isaki, especially with Desmond, is going to try and make a name for himself. And I could see that in how much training he's going to do. I think Isaki is going to, first of all, perfect his guncraft. Perfect it. We know right now he has Ace's gun. However, I feel like Isaki is going to in the end, combine all of the things he's going to learn into one thing, and that's going to be his main thing. For example, Isaki has the Territory Devil Fruit. He has water abilities. He has this cowboy sharpshooter techniques. He's going to have John McDowell's leadership, John McDowell's abilities, and then he's going to go on and put all that into one thing, I believe. And that's going to be a gun technique using water. Now, let me introduce you to a little bit of two sides of the same coin, right? Isaki and John McDowell. John McDowell uses a sword, Isaki uses a gun. John McDowell used fire, Isaki used water. Isaki is almost closer to Aozul than John McDowell. Now, Isaki is going to have a gun ability, potentially, in my opinion, using water at the tips of his fingers, or having it like a machine gun around him that he fires at will, similar to if you've ever played Overwatch or watched the Overwatch couple of episodes that BC released. Zenyatta has these orbs around him and fires them at will. And I could see Isaki having water around him and manipulating that water to be whatever he wants. So maybe he can use the water and make it or turn it into a blaster, a sniper, a handgun, an assault rifle. Things we haven't even seen in One Piece. But I think Isaki's going to be using basically watercraft to create water weaponry. And I think the Tear Devil Fruit is going to create bullets. I think it's going to be water Tear Devil Fruit bullets. And those bullets can do special things. Like if you've ever seen, once again, BC Productions JA, you've seen trick arrows that do certain things with Connor Hawk. And I think that it's possible that these bullets are going to do the same thing. You can have longer bullets, you can have shorter bullets, you can have bullets inflicted with Tear Devil Fruit, and it'll fire, because we know that it's weird. You can't use salt water. He can't use salt water if it hits him, because it will dampen his abilities. So I think he's going to have maybe how Gaara has a gourd of sand, Isaki has a gourd of fresh water. Could you imagine that instead of like bullet holsters on his sides, he has gourds of water that he pulls out to draw? I'm thinking waterbending Isaki. Maybe instead of flame broil, water broil, scalding water. Imagine. I think Isaki also is going to be training a little bit with maybe some sword play in ways that maybe he'll be able to create blades from the Tear Devil Fruit out of his hands, like he did when he fought Desmond that one time. Isaki, as a character, I believe is going to embrace his fisherman side a lot more with his abilities. And I think a lot of that's going to come out at Fishman Island. I think he's going to get a new water type ability, be able to use water differently. And I don't want to say Isaki, I think Isaki's going to perfect everything. Isaki is going to perfect everything at post time skip, and he's going to learn something new immediately. And he's going to stack that on top. I think Isaki is going to go forward and he's going to embrace his fisherman side, embrace his human side, hate himself less, and become a accepting character of his own flaws. Isaki is going to become a master sharpshooter. He's going to have gourds on his sides that he uses to manipulate fresh water to turn into weapons, and at the same time he's going to be able to use salt water to damage his enemies. Perhaps even a special mode or special ability using salt water that hurts or dampens his abilities, makes him a little shorter weaker with the Tear Devil Fruit, but the sheer power of the salt water will be tremendous. Next, Lawrence A. Charmant. So we've seen Gerard, and Gerard didn't have much with his kit. He fired scones, pastries, macaroons. And that's about as much as we saw about from Gerard before we got the Gerard to Lawrence transition. And thank goodness, because I'm just being honest, I wasn't a big Gerard fan, and Lawrence is such a great character, such a better character. Now, first things first, Lawrence is going to get better at cooking. He's going to get amazing at cooking. Lawrence is going to perfect his swordcraft, his skewers. And now we saw on Lawrence's island that he was dancing with a woman, and at the end we saw him manipulating rose petals. Now, this one has been the hardest for me to wrap my head around what could be Lawrence's abilities. And this is the one I was mentioning when I was mentioning Oswald and the character who we know so little about what they can be and what their abilities do. And I've been thinking, I don't think it's going to be flower manipulation, because A, we've seen that exact ability with Sakura, the Shichibukai, and with Fitz, we've seen petals be used, we've seen plants be used, and Byakko has the ability over nature. And I think this is going to be completely different. So, there's two possibilities, and they are what am I talking about? They are completely different from each other. They can be involved with each other, but they're completely different. I'll talk about my favorite is maybe the second one, but the first one is really good as well, but I'm going to start with the first one. The first one is petal enhancements to the swords. So, for example, Lawrence will be able to draw his blade, and petals will be able to be an extension of a sword, make it go longer. Maybe with a slice, the petals will be able to move to his will and dance around him. Maybe he'll be able to walk on them and they'll keep him up, and he'll be able to hit slices. It could be, this is still with part one, a fragrance ability. A fragrance ability, meaning that it's more of a sweet scent ability. He's able to use smells to his arsenal. A sweet smell, and it would also work with the cook feel of a sweet scent that's able to knock an enemy out, or a smell that he can make that makes him stronger. A slice that even if it doesn't hit, a fragrance will come off of it that will enter the nose. And then there's the second path, which is that we're focusing too much on petals itself. And what are the petals doing? They're flying around. He's not manipulating the petals, but rather he's manipulating the wind that encapsulates the movement of the petals. And petals could be part of his ability as just a spice added on. That's some cook humor for you. But the wind, he's manipulating the wind itself. And it would tie in, I mean, we have fire manipulation in Zack, we have water manipulation in Isaki, we have wind manipulation in Lawrence. Only one left is earth manipulation, which potentially could be Shem. Who knows? But I could see wind being a part of the kit of Lawrence. And it could be, as I said before with the petals, his blade shoots wind, makes a wind attack. So he doesn't even have to get close. It's more ranged slices. He can walk on the wind. He can harness a tornado attack. He can go for a jab and it'll shoot wind, hot wind, cold wind. It could even be parts of his hunting technique to get food for the fish. When we first see Lawrence, is it a coincidence that he wishes to cook a seagull that Isaki shoots down? I think wind is so vague in what the ability could be. And I just think that wind or air is a possible thing that he could be a part of. honestly, it's up to you guys, the viewers, to say what the speculation could be as far as that goes, but I do believe that wind will be a crucial part of the sword techniques of Lawrence. And I do think they're going to be sword techniques, because I think Oswald is going to perfect his sword abilities, and then the upgrade will be in Kamazats. And I think Lawrence is going to perfect his wind ability, or his pedal ability, or whatever his ability is, and be great with the sword. As far as a character, I think the lies are going to keep coming. I think he's going to keep talking about the lies until one day the lies aren't lies anymore, and they're truly his trek, and that's what his journey will be over. We don't know a lot about Lawrence. We know more about Isaki than Lawrence. We know that Lawrence is the brother of Gerard, and that at one point Lawrence was not there anymore. And we know that Lawrence knows Garrett, a member of the Black Feather Pirates with Finn Chimes. We know that Lawrence has had great adventures, as far as he said, which honestly, I mean, how justifiable is that? But it's possible. And then we know nothing else about him. We don't know where he came from, other than he's the brother of Gerard. So we can assume that he came from Aime Lavent, the flower island. And that's also another reason why Lawrence could have pedal abilities, because he's from the flower island, the island of flowers and love. I don't know. And then there's also possibilities that he could have food abilities as well. I doubt that, but that's also a possibility, and I have to throw it out there. As far as a character, as I was talking about his character, Lawrence is going to become adventurous. I could honestly see Lawrence being the first one on each island to stray away from the crew and go do his own thing and go explore wherever they are. I think Lawrence is going to be the adventurous one. He's going to be very close with Zack. I can see Lawrence and Zack having some fun combos. I can also see Lawrence and Maurice having some fun combos, with Lawrence being the brother of Gerard and Maurice and Gerard having that, that tension. And I think Lawrence is going to be honestly, he's going to be the fun character of the crew. I think a lot of us expected that from Maurice, but Maurice has matured. He's honestly matured as far as the character goes, and I think Maurice is going to still be that character, but I think Lawrence is going to be the character that, when you look at them and when you watch them, you say, "Oh, that's the guy I want to hang out with. That's the fun character." And I think maybe Lawrence could bring that out of Maurice, going on post-time skip. I could even see Maurice becoming a very moody character with the noir vibe, and Lawrence and Maurice completely switch roles. I don't know. But last, and certainly not least, is the captain of the Fisheye Pirates, Red Lens, Zack D. Sparrow. Now, we know, obviously, this one is probably the easiest and the hardest. We know Zack's going to get Armament Hockey, Observation Hockey, and Conqueror's Hockey. He's going to perfect those, or he's going to get very good with them. Now, how is that going to implement into his abilities? Now, so far we know Zack has speed abilities. He's, of course, got the Zoom Zoom Devil Fruit. We know he has the Phase 2, which is him phasing through objects. We know he has Phase 3, which is Friction, which he makes flames. Now, I don't think you can put armament on those flames, because it's not like you're creating them. I mean, it's not like they're part of your abilities. They are created by your abilities. Like, for example, Hades, Crollo Alvarez, creates flames, and then we assume puts Armament Hockey on them to make them black flames. But that's because his ability is to summon flames to his hand. We assume from whatever his Devil Fruit is. We don't really know what his Devil Fruit is, because it's a mystery. He's one of the most mysterious Shichibukai out there. But Friction is made from literally creating flames with friction. So I don't think you can put Armament Hockey on that. So I think Armament Hockey is going to be put onto his normal abilities, such as Zoom Zoom, Gatling Gun, Zoom Zoom Disco Ball. All of those may have a hockey version. And then maybe there'll be like a different, like Zoom Zoom, if it was Zoom Zoom Machine Gun, Zoom Zoom Rocket Launcher, which we've seen, Zoom Zoom Bazooka maybe? I don't know, something. I think there's going to be an upgraded version of Zack's primary abilities. Phase 2, I think Phase 2 is going to be perfected to start. Phase 2, because it was incomplete in parts. I think Phase 2 is going to be perfected by Zack, as well as Phase 3. And I think observation hockey is going to play in a lot to phase 2, into knowing like what's on the opposite side of the wall. Should he phase through this? Should he phase through that? Should he phase through this attack? Should he phase through that attack? It's not like he can see into the future. Like, that'd be crazy, but he, of course, he can, he can react to things faster, which will be way better with his speed. Like, fast speed with observation hockey is almost broken. Pretty much it is broken, actually. In a perfected phase 2, all those three of those together, Zack is on the road to being unstoppable. And then phase 3, I don't really know what that's going to encompass. I want to say observation hockey could help with that as well. Maybe armament to a point where if they get close, like, he can make a flame armament hockey new ability, like a flame fist or a some sort of flaming melee attack with armament hockey. That's going to be what his ability is going to be. That's going to be his new upgraded attack. A flame armament hockey coated attack. Fist. As far as a character, I think Zack is going to be able to assess fights more. We've seen Zack be unable to run away from a fight. I think he's going to understand that if he needs to run away from a fight, he should run away. He should save his crew at all costs. I think that's exactly, because of course we know he loves his crew, but I think now he really understands, he needs to protect them, and his goal is so much closer. He's one half of the Grand Line away from his goal in his mind. And if he wants to fight Yonko, like, we saw how strong Archie is. We don't even know the other two. We know it's Finn, Archie, or was Archie, and then two more. We don't know who they are. And if he wants to fight the Dutchman, I mean, now that the Dutchman's got the Sun Devil Fruit and the Ghost Devil Fruit, it was looking bad for Zack then, but I think Zack now is going to have a matured mindset. He's going to become more mature as it goes on. As for, he seemed like the same Zack through the first half of the Grand Line. I think the second half is going to be all about Zack maturing. He's going to have matured in those 2 years. Then he's going to mature even more through this half of the Grand Line, through the New World. And obviously Zack's going to have Conqueror's Hockey. He's going to get great with that. And then I don't think it's going to happen now. Maybe the next couple arcs, maybe the next big arc. I think we're going to see Zack phase 4. And if you want to, I guess, like, I have time to talk about, just quickly, what I think phase 4 will be. So, I'm just going to speculate. We know phase 1 is phasing through objects. Phase 2 is creating fire. Phase 3, I'll just spitball some ideas. Phase 4 could be lightning. Phase 4 could be time manipulation, which would kind of be a little broken, but I think if done right, it's possible. I mean, we see it with the Quantum Devil Fruit with Aoshiki. Phase 4, speed. We could see clones being created after images. I think there's just so much that's possible. Maybe it's light speed, phase 4 light speed, Zack goes even faster. I think there's so much possibility with what Zack can do. And I think that one is a video for another day, and it's just to be seen as to what BC does. We know as much as up to they go to time skip. We don't know anything after. So we're just going to have to wait and see and let them do their magic. Because honestly, this series is one of their masterpieces, and I can't wait for it to come back and to see what Zack and his crew do. And I can't wait to see Zack finally achieve his dream. This has been Red Lens Jack. I'm signing out. Peace. And be sure to watch out for me and a good friend of mine, Blackness Berry Win, with a collaboration video coming soon. I'll see you guys later. Peace.